All righty. We are here for our January Living Fit Tribe call. I thought it would be really fun before we introduce our guest speaker or our featured speaker of the month. I thought it would be really cool if we have any shout outs for anyone for recognition.
You could barely hear me. Shout out to everybody that kept the daily vibe call going. I couldn't get on at all last week because we had zero internets. Actually, we had less than zero internets most of the week. So good job, everyone, for getting on last week and keeping me in check to make sure we got everything done.
Woo! Thanks for sending all of those, Lacey. You still keep it alive even with zero internet. So shout out.
It was literally like a 3-mile stretch between where we stayed and the yards that I would get service. So I sent it in the stretch.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I have a few shout outs I could give, but I'll let people go if they want to. But Lindsay, shout out to you for day 7 of Ultimate Reset?
8.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's awesome. I'm super intrigued to do it. I'm super inspired by what you're doing and working on gut health and just to refresh. So, and I thought of you last night because Caleb's dad was telling us the top foods for 2020. And he said that seaweed was one of them. And I was like, oh, that's funny because you're eating a ton of seaweed with this.
Call me a weirdo. This is my golden rule, and you guys should have it too. You try everything once. And I love sushi, so it's not been a hard sell for me, but it's been a little weird. We had miso soup, which is basically miso paste, which is soybean paste, I think, and then seaweed and onion. Green onion. I know, I hate onions, and I'm doing it, so.
Yay! That's awesome.
Feeling good.
Without the onion, I'm not really a big onion person. Never have been. Never.
You try it once.
I'll try it, but yeah. Shout out to Ashley Ashley Klafke for continuing to show up postpartum, all of that. Girl, you are crushing it.
I'm going to shout out Ashley Klafke as well. Her first day back to work, killing the mama of 2 job. It's a struggle. I've been there. Thank you. Saving the crayon away from the baby, no big deal.
Shout out to Jennifer. This is her first Living Fit Tribe Zoom.
Yeah! Oh, my baby's on. Don't mind me, just being loud. Sorry.
Jennifer's a little Southern belle, and I just want to stuff her in my pocket and listen to her all day long.
Guys, we got up this morning. It was 26 degrees. I live in North Georgia. We don't do 26 degrees down here. My kids, we had to go out to the store today, and they look like the kid off A Christmas Story. I had them all bundled up. My son, you could see this much of his face. So it's it is blooming cold out here. So
I literally said today it was 12 degrees, and I was like, it feels like a heat wave out here. It feels good.
No.
Right? Negative 26 was this weekend. I mean, you could have been in the below zero spot. So I tell your kids to appreciate the warmth that they got. We usually call that bikini weather. Oh, it's above zero. It's bikini weather today.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Does anybody else have any other shout outs they want to share?
We got a team cup put together. Woo, woo! Me, Ashley Klafke, Lindsay, Misty Banks, and Ashley Harvey. That's her last name. Harvey, whatever. Another Ashley. It's cool.
Guys. Okay. Also, shout out to Ashley Gardonia for being here for our guest speaker or featured speaker. You're not a guest. You're part of Living Fit Tribe. I don't know why I keep saying that. But we are so excited to hear your story tonight. I am just going to kind of let you take the floor. you probably have one of my favorite transformation stories. Like for me, it was just like incredibly entertaining because I remember the first time that you reached out to me based on a post that I did. And then you ghosted me. And then it was like, oh my gosh, this girl hates me. Like, P.S. For those of you who don't know, I went to elementary school with Ashley. We were friends back then. We obsessed over Hanson and Aaron Carter and probably the Backstreet Boys too. So I am so excited for her to share her story with you and to hopefully you guys have some takeaways and just learn from her journey. So Ashley, you could take it away.
So I tried to think all my way in the car what I was going to talk about, and I guess I'll just start from the beginning. So this summer I found Lauren on Instagram. It was, not long after she'd had Blake and Kenzie, and, her story kind of sucked me in like that. It hits your heart and you're like, oh, but like I knew her. And so I followed her, and yeah, she was posting obviously her motivational, like somehow she was still like in a good mood after going through what she went through. So that was, something that I didn't really understand. Like I was not somebody that found positivity in anything that I did in that time in my life. I was on such a high dose of this anxiety med that I never took anything that was like Xanax or anything, but I was on a daily anxiety med and I didn't sleep. I was sleeping, 3 to 4 hours a night. Lack of sleep was giving me migraines to the point where I was having them 4 to 5 times a week. Couldn't get rid of them. So then I was on meds for migraines and I was on meds for sleep. And it was like I was taking another drug for another side effect that I was having that, looking back on it now, like I could have fixed all. So yeah, I messaged Lauren, and I was like, hey, yeah, I need to hear about what you do. And she sent me an email. I went through a questionnaire. She gave me a recommendation that came with a $160 price tag. And I was like, no, absolutely not. So I ghosted her. I still followed her. I was still watching her stories. I was still very much active in what she was doing, but I was not going to pay her $160. And I really hate when I get to the point that it changed. But Daniel and I got engaged on November 5th of 2017. And I was so unhappy with where I was at, like not even just like emotionally and my anxiety that I was dealing with, my depression I was dealing with, but now, we planned a wedding in less than a year and I was going to have to put on a dress and be the center of attention. I mean, I don't know if Jennifer is, but everybody else in this call is married. Everyone else has put on a wedding dress and known that feeling of like, all eyes are on you. You can put up the most gorgeous decorations, but all eyes are on you. And I just was not ready for that. Like everyone was asking me when I was going wedding dress shopping, and the thought of it just made me sick. So I was at work the Monday, November 13th, and I texted my husband and I said, Daniel, I need to do something different. The gym is not working. I'm not going to go. I've never been consistent. I'd really like to try out this Beachbody thing. And he was like, well, how much is it? I said, it's $160. It's got a return policy. So like, if I really don't do it, I can give it back. But I just feel like, I remember telling him, like, I just feel like this is something I have to try. And I knew it was going to come with hard work. And I think that's something that I wish everyone understood when they signed up for Beachbody is we're not selling it works. We're selling hard work and consistency and dedication. If you're not willing to do that, it's not going to work. So I went into it knowing that it was going to be hard work. And I started with 21 Day Fix, which I think is something else that I feel like everyone should start with. Is it my favorite program? Absolutely not. I doubled up the last 3 days of this week because I did not want to do any more 21 Day Fix. And after 21 days, it was like, it just became a habit. And truthfully, did I like working out? No, I felt disgusting. I felt so huge. And just for reference, so I was just under 200 pounds when I started. And for months prior to starting, I told myself, once I get to 200 pounds, like I really got to make a change. Like, why was I setting myself up to get to 200 pounds? And I'm 5'4", so like 200 pounds on 5'4" is a lot of weight. And I carry it all in my stomach. So I went through, oh, so when are you due? All the time. And that's just emotionally, on somebody that has anxiety, like constantly worrying about what people are going to say. So anyway, I started January 13th, and I have been consistent working out 5 to 7 days a week since November 13th. I did have pneumonia last January, so I took a week off, but in the last 3 years, so much has changed. Like, I wake up at 4:30 every day, between 4 and 4:30 every day. The weekends, I'll sleep till 5:30 or 6 sometimes, but pretty consistently up at between 4 and 4:30. So prior to starting, I was on an anxiety med, a migraine prophylaxis, a migraine when I got a headache, a blood pressure medicine to try and help with my migraines, a sleep medicine to help me sleep so I didn't have migraines. And today I can tell you that the only medication I take is a prenatal vitamin. I do not take anything else. I do not have any prescriptions. I manage my anxiety with exercise, and it is one thing that people don't get. Like, when I tell them, like, I am such an advocate for mental health and anxiety, and I totally understand it. And yes, there are times that you have to medicate, but I also 100% believe that you should also try to exhaust your options. You know, I was someone who stood back and said, well, mental health is important, and it is, but you should also think about the things that you're putting in your body. It's just become something that I know I can manage it, but I think, again, people don't want to put in the work to manage it. So I do still get Botox for migraines every 3 months, because it does run in my family. It's very much a genetic thing. My mom had it, my grandmother had it, my dad has migraines. So I also have a pristine forehead. So, that's a positive as well. So I would say the other really big thing that I think has been a huge transformation is a lot of my mental health and the way I deal with things. I think almost everybody here has followed me for quite some time. So I am a registered financial advisor. I had to go through all of my testing last year, and I think that was a real struggle for me, to not be on any anxiety medication and go through the testing. So the way it worked for the company that I work for is you take the exams, you can fail within 12 points and retake. If you fail again, you no longer have a job. We have 2 incomes in my household, and we need 2 incomes in my household. So, you go into those exams and, I could walk out and not have a job. And that was a real struggle for me. But I stayed consistent. I studied 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. I got up every day and worked out before I went to the office to study. If there may have been days that I had to also work out in the evening. But it was something that keeping that consistency, and really focusing on what is positive and keeping those workouts was a way, if I go 2 or 3 days, Daniel's like, you need to go work out. Like, you have to. And then, so getting through that was really big, and just really focusing on the personal development. I will be honest, I don't do a whole lot of like personal development books right now. But I have things that work for me. So I am listening to Extreme Leadership by Jocko. What is his last name? Jocko something. I'll post it in the group. Jocko Lantern? I don't think it's Lantern. But Jocko something. And he's a Navy SEAL. So, but I've been listening to that in the morning. But I also, I don't know if it's on the radio near you guys, but there's a radio show called The Bobby Bones Show. And it was on in St. Louis, and he runs one of the biggest country radio talk shows in the US. And I listened to his podcast, and it's not even necessarily like just a normal radio show, but he's very positive. He preaches about consistency. He's big into fitness. He preaches, being positive and mental health, and everything about his podcast and his radio show is positive. They have, if you've ever seen them, they do like the Pimp and Joy shirts, where their whole idea is to pimp joy and to be positive. And listening to him in the morning, like, it might not be like strict personal development, but it puts me in a better mood, and it sets me on the right track, just because everyone is positive on the show and does good things. And overall, just figuring out what works for you in terms of your personal development, or what you're doing to keep your mind on track. Listening to music is not something that jives me. It does not, nothing gets me jacked. I don't listen to music when I work out in the morning. I watch TV. So learning the things that keep my mind positive have been huge. So listening to this podcast, working out every day, and finding people that fit with you, to where when you do have something going on, you can reach out to. And that's been really big for me. So Daniel and I got married in January of 2018, and I hated that people would be like, well, hopefully you'll stick it out after you're married. Like, oh, once the wedding's over, hope you can keep it up. So leading up to the wedding, I lost 50 pounds. So I was just under 150 pounds on my wedding day. I'm happy to say that Daniel and I have been married a year and 4 months, and I am still 150 pounds. Not that weight is important, but it is the way that I've kind of gauged where I'm at. My body doesn't necessarily change, but I do weigh myself every day, mostly to keep myself accountable for what I'm putting in my body. My nutrition is not necessarily always perfect, so it's the way that I kind of gauge where I'm at. But mindset has been the biggest thing for me. I don't even know how to, people ask me all the time, like, oh, Daniel's even said before, like, you should try out the gym. I would love to see what you could do with your body in the gym. Okay, first of all, my body's not doing anything that impressive because I like food too much. And I'm not eating the things that Lacey eats to get the muscles that Lacey has. So let's just be clear, you're never going to see that kind of body on me. But Beachbody works for me. And I'm at a point now, I love seaweed, but I like carbs, and, Beachbody does work for Lacey. It does. You have a lot more discipline than I do. I do not have the self-control to not eat pizza when I want it. I'm not eating gluten, and yet I still ate a piece of Casey's pizza on the way home today. Will my stomach hurt tomorrow? Yes, it will. But learning mindset has been the biggest thing for me, and it's really hard for me to even explain. Like, it's not the discipline of working out. It's not, I think it's just the month that I spent totally focused on myself. We focus so much on the people around us and what people are going to think about us. And I have become somebody that, like, I just don't care. And a lot of that is the people I surround myself with. There are times that I'm not doing something and I'm like my credit card got declined at Hy-Vee tonight. And 2 years ago, Ashley had been like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, this girl in front of me is 17 years old. She didn't give a shit. You know, like, you're never going to see that person again. They don't care. They see it all the time. I know that my card's not declined because I don't have any money. I know that I work at the bank and my card is stupid, you know. Learning that someone else's opinion of you is none of your business was the most valuable thing I've ever learned. But also realizing that there are so many people out there that don't understand that and focus so much on what other people think and keep things inside, like I'm sure some of us all used to, and hold on to things just inside and not put those out there. So after Daniel and I got married, we waited to start trying to have kids. And we found out we were pregnant in October. And 12 days later, I was in the emergency room having a miscarriage. And looking back on it now, like, I'm healed. But I'm not going to say that I don't have anxiety about having children in the future. But I'm able to, because my mindset is in a positive place and I'm able to deal with what's going on inside, I can look at it and I can use logic to be like, number one, I need to share what happened, because my doctor, the first thing she said to me was, you never hear these stories. You only hear the good stories. You only see the birth announcements. You only see the gender reveals. You're not going to see when people are having miscarriages and when they're, you know, having loss. And I just don't think that's fair to the people that are around us, because that's such a hard thing to go through. And I don't know anybody that's had a miscarriage. Obviously, I've seen other loss, but my best friend had 2 kids, one right after another. No problem, no issues. And so we need to, when you go through things like that, like, we have to be there to show them that that happens. So yeah, that was something that was really hard, but the mindset and being able to look at it and say, it happened for a reason. Like, and do I know what that reason is? No, but it could have been that it wasn't a healthy pregnancy, and I certainly don't want to subject myself or another life to an unhealthy life. So if that's what it was, okay, you know, but your mindset has to be in the right place. If 3 years ago Ashley had a miscarriage, I would probably still be in bed. But I was able to take 3 days, get through it, and move on. And it's almost frustrating me. Like, people want me to be a lot more upset about it than I feel like I am. And part of me at the same time is like, should I be more upset about this? Should I still be mourning this loss? Should I still be, you know, really struggling with this? But no, I mean, it's not healthy to do that either. So I think the things that I have learned from some silly app that I spent $160 on blows my mind. The consistency and learning things along the way that are like, you are responsible for yourself. I work a tough job. I love what I do. I absolutely love my job, but it is a job that at the end of the day, I can't blame anyone else. Just like if you start a fitness and, you know, weight loss journey, you have no one else to blame but yourself. If you don't see success, it's because you're not putting in the work. And I have to take that to my job too. I don't think I would be as successful it's so cold in my house. I'm so sorry. I'm like shivering here. I would not be as successful at work if I didn't have the mindset that I learned from Beachbody. My marriage is healthier because of Beachbody. You know, doesn't question things anymore. You know, he used to give me shit. He gave me a lot of shit at the beginning. A lot. Oh, you're working out at home. He has still, in how long is it? 2.5 years, he has never done a Beachbody workout. He probably never will, and that's fine. I've finally gotten to the point that I've stopped asking him, but he doesn't question me doing it. He has been very much supportive. If you ask him and you say, did you ever think that when she called you on that Monday to spend $160 that I would still be here? He would laugh in your face. Like, absolutely not. And I don't know what it was. I didn't sign up to be a coach until February. So November through February, I just did it on my own. I followed so many Beachbody people in the process, just trying to I started a new Instagram page when I started, and I just wanted anything I saw on social media and Instagram to be positive. And if you follow Beachbody coaches, they're all positive, you know? And it was just a turning point to just make it positive. You know, I changed the screen on my phone. So when I open up my phone, I've got apps that are proactively making me more positive. I try to remain positive on social media. I'm a financial advisor. I have political views just like everybody else. I don't share them on Facebook, not because I'm trying to avoid anything, but it's not a positive space. I try to keep things positive at work as much as I can. You know, I try to help where I can, and it's a different place. I see that Lacey wrote, and an official half marathoner. I ran a half marathon too. I was never a runner, ever. And I'll be honest. So when I started, after I did 21 Day Fix, I did Shift Shop. And then I tried to do 21 Day Fix Extreme, and that was way too extreme. Truthfully, I still haven't done it because I'm pretty sure it's still too extreme for me now. I did Shift Shop, and I was so scared to take a rest day. And then we did 80-Day Obsession, and that was, again, it was one rest day a week. And I was so scared to take a rest day at 80-Day Obsession. And then I started 80-Day Obsession. And if you've done that program, you need that rest day. But when Lift 4 came out, I was so scared because I was so afraid that if I took more than one rest day, I would not start again on Monday. Even 6 months in, I was so scared I would fall off. And Lacey said, you need to run. And I was like, I don't know about that. And I downloaded the Couch to 5K app, ran my first, I set a goal to run a 5K before we got married. I ran 2 before we got married. And then one day on a run high, which is very real, don't make decisions after you're on a runner's high. I ran like 5 miles and I was like, I can run 13 miles. I should register for a 5K or 13.1. And so I did it, and I ran almost all of it. There was a really big hill at the end, and I struggled. My earbuds died on mile 5. My watch died on mile 2, which means none of my run was recorded on my Apple Watch. My watch died, or my phone died. Like it was like the recipe for disaster. And I somehow still finished it in under 2.5 hours. So for being my first half marathon, and my goal was to finish in 3 hours, and I finished in like 2 hours and 21 minutes or something. I take back everything I ever said about people that put 13.1 stickers on the back of their car, because I know why. Like, you want the world to know that you ran 13.1 miles. And I think, truthfully, that has been Like not the weight loss, not anything positive, not anything like physical, but when I crossed the finish line of that 13.1, it was like, I just don't even feel like the same person I did 3 years ago. And now it's normal. Like it's who I am. Like there's no question when I go visit people, like, oh, Ashley's going to work out. You know, I still, like this morning I got up at 6:30 and I still worked out because I set a goal to work out for at least the first 100 days of the year. And it's just who I am now. And I always wanted to be that person. I think that's what I really admired about Lauren in following her Instagram, was that was just who she was. Like she was the fit girl. And I wanted to be that girl so bad. I wanted to be somebody who was looked at like she was healthy and she cared about herself and she, you know, valued her self-worth and her her overall health. Like the fact that I went from 4 to 5, I mean, I had like AM and PM pill containers to I just work out. I like to set goals, and Beachbody gave me the ability to set goals and stay consistent enough to do them, and the people around me to keep me on that track. And I was really active in coaching for leading up to the wedding and after it. And 2019 was a really hard year for me, between studying and being in a new city. We moved to Kansas City from St. Louis. We left everybody we knew. And I love Kansas City now. I still don't have a whole lot of friends. But it's fine because I'm so focused on my career. And maybe that's not healthy, but I mean, whatever. But I have been very much, the past 6 months, been very much trying to get back to coaching myself. I've always been consistent with exercise. That's never been a problem. But I'm an emotional eater to my core. So I really have been working on myself and keeping myself on track, but the exercise has never been a problem. I mean, November 13th, that all changed. But I have all the tools to stay on track, and Beachbody gave me that. And it's hard because I don't even know how to put it into words. Like, it's just who I am now. And when I used to tell people I did Beachbody, I get looks all the time. My manager that I work for now, he is very active. He's a mountain biker. He works out, he lifts, he used to do bodybuilding. And we were talking about exercising because they all know I get up at 4:30. And he said, oh, so like, what do you do for workouts? And I said, oh, well, I do Beachbody on demand. And he was like, and I said, you can say whatever you want about Beachbody, but I lost almost 60 pounds doing Beachbody, and I am healthier than I have ever been in my entire life. So you can say whatever you want. You can call it an MLM, a pyramid scheme. I don't care. Everyone has their right to an opinion. I'm not asking you to do it with me. I'm not asking you to do it with me at home. But that's what works for me. Just like your mountain biking works for you. I don't know if I could ride a bicycle right now. But what I do works for me. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, maybe Lauren can ask some questions. I really don't even know what to say. Like, it's so funny that Lauren thinks I have like this amazing transformation, and I do.
Okay, you do, because listen to that. Like, I'm hearing so many things that, like, you've said it like probably 10 times. I would not have done this if I hadn't started this journey. Like, that's what makes an incredible transformation. It wasn't just that you lost 50 pounds. It's that you shared with us tonight that you had a miscarriage, and most people wouldn't do that. It's that you listened to something that breathe this positivity into you every day. It's trying a half marathon when a few years ago you would have been like, F that. Like, there's so many things to your story it's so inspiring to hear a full transformation, like full circle. The whole thing is so incredible. Oh gosh, sorry. I just bumped something on my remote. So I wanted to touch on the PD because you were just, you downplayed it a little bit. Like, this isn't really PD. But what I want to remind you guys is whatever you feel like you need, listen or read that. It doesn't matter if it's not listed on Audible, like best PD suggestions. If it's something that gives you fire and makes you feel better about where you are, or gives you a way to like improve on where you're struggling, like that's what you should be listening to. And then, yeah, I just said like coaches do what others aren't willing to do, like in terms of sharing your story. Like most people don't do that, but having that mindset of like somebody else needs this and most people don't share this. So like having that, what's the word I'm looking for? Just having that the courage to share that is so awesome. So Ashley, I love your story so much. I'm sure everybody has questions, but if you guys want to, you can unmute for them or whatnot. I do have a question because I know this was super huge for you. What changed for you when you joined the team?
One, I did not see much of a physical transformation. In fact, I've probably shared, I should share them again. My transformation in 21 Day Fix was like nothing. Like I cried when I finished it. Like I had put in all of this work for 21 days and Daniel took my after photos and I was like, there's literally no difference. Like I just worked my ass off for 21 days and I don't see any change. Like, why am I doing this? And so I didn't see a whole lot of transformation. And that was the end of February. So I was a month and almost 2 months into 80-day obsession and I did not see much of a change. There's something about the team, and not even so much like the team Facebook page, but being connected to other people, like finding Lacey and finding Kenzie and finding those people that you connect with and can talk to made the difference for me. I mean, my 80-day obsession results were crazy, but it was really that last month that I was on the team and had connected with people and had people watching and, getting messages, and the team really the connection of the team and finding people on the team that were my kind of people was like a really big deal. Finding those people that, yeah, they're positive, but like, Lacey's going to call you on your shit. Like, so if you're going to be friends with her, like, you just got to know, like, she's going to be blunt. But I'm like that too. So finding those people and the connection was huge.
I love that. And I think too, a huge part of that is that you're surrounded by people who are in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going anywhere. When you're in a challenge group, people go in and out all the time. And it's like, the team, like they joined because they want to live a healthy lifestyle, like through the ups and downs of life. Like, even though it's not always pretty, even if you have pneumonia for a week, like you have people in your corner that are going to be on your case if you don't bounce back.
And they're also consistent. Like you said, the challenge group was huge for me because if it weren't for going in and logging my workout and logging my shake when I first started every single day in that challenge group you had, no, nobody was watching it. Nobody cared that I was in there logging it, but like I did it for me. But there were so many people that like I'd see every day for like 10 days and they'd disappear out of the group. when you connect with coaches and people that are doing it like you, like are also consistent, you feed off that consistency. And that consistency really, I think, is what helped me. And when I had a challenge, like I really want to do lift 4, but like I don't trust myself to have those 3 rest days. You have a group of consistent people that are like, this is how I stay consistent. This is how you can stay consistent too. But you're going to have to put in the work for sure.
With the, sorry, I keep asking all the questions. I promise I'll just ask this one and then you guys can ask your questions. What would you recommend for someone who's just starting their journey? What would you say to them?
I would recommend that you buy Energize. Go to bed early and set 3 alarms. I started working out in the evening when I first started 21 Day Fix, and I knew it wouldn't be I wouldn't be consistent that way. You can't. You have to live a life. And the first time was I realized that I made plans on a Thursday evening, but I hadn't worked out yet. So I ran home. I worked out really quick. I had to go do this event in friggin' leggings and a workout shirt. So I think making a plan and figuring out how to be consistent with it, and then holding someone accountable for those actions. So for a while, when I was studying for my exams, I set a goal to wake up 30 to 45 minutes earlier to study, go through my note cards and study prior to going in. So I think Lacey and maybe Lindsay were sending me Giphies at 4 a.m. because they were way better about waking up at 4 a.m. I was very much in a rut. When we first moved to Kansas City, I was very depressed. I hated it here. My best friend had just moved back to St. Louis. And so I was going to bed at 8:30 and I was waking up with just enough time to get a 22-minute hardcore workout in. So I latched on to them to be like, you need to make sure I'm up. And Lacey doesn't send nice Giphies. They weren't like, oh, wake up, sunshine. They're like, get your ass up now. But I think energized too. So there was when I really got consistent in the morning, I would, and I still do this to this day, just so everyone's clear. I get out of my bed at 4:15. I chug a scoop of Energize and I get back in my bed. I don't go back to sleep. I just get back in bed, and I still do it to this day. It's fine to get back in bed. It's cold out right now, okay? But yeah, I would say Energize, find an accountability person, even if it's your coach. I mean, we're all here. So, or find someone who's going to hold you accountable for that. I had Daniel hold me accountable too. There were days that he pushed me out of bed. No, you need to get up. But finding somebody to be accountable with, Energize, and lots of alarm clocks to make sure you get up. Agreed, Lacey. Agreed.
Awesome. I love that. Does anybody else have questions for Ashley?
When's the next half marathon?
I'm going to train for real for this one. I don't really want to run one in like the dead of summer though. Like that sounds awful. Maybe like end of April, May, October, November.
Okay, hold on. Jennifer was telling me about one she did, at Disney?
Yeah, so we just got back. I'm actually wearing my 10K shirt. We just did, so if you go to Disney World, in January, they have marathon weekends. They have a 5K, a 10K, a half, and a full. I've done all the races there except for the 5K. I've done 5Ks, but it's so fun. But you've got Florida weather, so you're either going to have like 80-degree weather or 50-degree weather. You never know what it's going to be like in January. But like, I would totally recommend doing a Disney race. It's not for time because they're super crowded, but it's so fun. Like, I've done so many half marathons down there. It's ridiculous.
So are we all making a pact right now? We're going to do it next year? All of us?
Yes.
Yes.
That'd be so fun.
Or you can go in February. They have the
You're shaking your
Princess
head
Half
very,
Marathon in
very
February.
Okay.
No, I was both of you not that long ago. Shaking my head no.
We need to get them on the post-workout high and then sign away.
Lacey's always commenting or saying, she's like, if you